Hey everyone, it is Monday morning, Monday the 6th of February. Oh my gosh, it's already first week of February gone. I mean, the time is just absolutely flying at this point. So today I'm shooting a studio vlog and I think I have 2 more videos that will come out before this video, and this video probably will come out on Friday. Anyway, just to let you know at the point when you're watching it that it would have been a week. So I had a school run already, popped to the post office, dropped off some orders, made myself a cup of tea, lemon tea of course, and I thought I'll do just a little chat in front of the camera. Probably later there will be some sort of drawing content as usual. Mind you, I seem to have come off the mind block because I started painting something that feels authentic to me. And I realized it's been actually a year since I've done my last botanical art, almost a year. And it's been kind of like before that, another year almost. So it's been a good while. The last time I've done proper botanical art, like in a modern way, was the July. So July of last year, in the summer. And the level of that botanical art was actually pretty good already at that point. So it's something that I should have persevered, and I didn't. I went into abstract art, which I don't regret because I ended up exhibiting my art, and that's quite an achievement. So I'm quite happy with that. Also, because I am working in different styles, some of them are pieces that I'm happy to sell and represent myself as an artist. And then there are other things that I just enjoy doing. And being an artist and working in different styles or different areas, it's actually quite a thing to get to the point where you can jump from one to another with like a flick of a finger. And you want to be doing well in all of the areas, if that makes sense. So if I wanted to refocus back on abstract art and I sit down and start painting, I shouldn't feel lost. And at the moment I feel like I can do quite well, especially those 2 styles. So not the portraiture, I haven't really been persevering that much, but the botanical / floral art, in the modern sense of it, and also the abstract art. I feel like I can jump from one to the other without being lost. Having said that, of course, I did have a whole month of like an artist block. So it's good now. I think I'm in a good place. Fingers crossed. I hope I'm not speaking too soon. But talking about authenticity, I thought I'll open up a subject that I think I tried to open this subject a few times, and every time I ended up cutting it out of my videos because, I don't know, it's just, how I don't like having negativity on my channel. Let's keep it light, and you're welcome to join in the comments and share your experience if you are a creator here on YouTube, or if you are an aspiring creator, if you're thinking of opening or starting your own YouTube channel, or if you're viewing and what is your point of view from the viewer. I am both, so I love watching YouTube and I am a creator. So I look at this subject from both angles. So when I view things, to be honest, I'm not watching, although I love YouTube, I am not watching that much of art. I tend to watch a gemology YouTube channel, and I tend to watch some like cooking channels, and what else? Decor, Vogue, like things that inspire me in other areas. In terms of art, I had to stop quickly. I had a door rang. So the 2 channels that I constantly watch, one I have to pronounce correctly, Leigh Ellickson, Lay Alexon, I think. So I don't miss out a video of hers. Her videos are like a real treat. She's so authentic. She is just a joy to watch. I love people like that, you know? They don't try to copy anyone. They're just the way they are. And I really appreciate that. I love her style as a person. I love her character. I love her art style. I love her sense of color. Just everything is real, and that's what I really appreciate. And then the other channel that I never miss out videos of is Natasha Newton. I find something very calming about her, and I love her contemporary sense of color palette. Although I personally would use more colors, but it doesn't stop me. When I say more colors, maybe like pinks or, you know, more vivid greens that she would never use, but that never stops me from appreciating the precision in which she works. And also what I connect with is the art itself. So the English countryside. We live in a countryside, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I could never get tired of looking at fields and those little cottages and just stepping out in our village, and there's like a few of those like fairy tale cottages, and one day I want to go up there, sit in front of them and paint, and I'll probably look so weird, but one day I might dare doing it. But anyway, also her style very unique, and the reason I'm saying that is because there are artists on YouTube that think if they start copying bits from different artists, they won't be sussed out because it will be a mixture. The problem is the lack of imagination. It's the lack of personality. And I think if there is nothing happening like up here, you won't be able to put that into your art. I know if there is like stress, if there is too much going on, what I draw or paint, I don't connect with. But sometimes, you know, nonetheless, if I'm not happy with the piece, I still put it on YouTube because it's me. It's something you do because you want your YouTube channel to carry on. So for this year, I'm trying to change that mentality and create things that I feel very happy and solid about. Of course, it's something you can't control. It happens, and sometimes it doesn't. But the point is, the conversation that I want to open is it okay? And I already know the answer to it. The answer is no. Is it okay for artists or creators? I wouldn't call them artists actually. They're not artists for real. So is it okay for those creators to take courses, to watch other creators, to copy things, to be, let's call it, inspired by what the other artists are doing, and never mentioning they got inspired by that artist, so they start basically taking that technique and using it as their own, and they're bluffing to their viewers. The credibility of that creator, for me personally, is like dead. And is it okay in your view? And the other thing is, I'm not sure how the viewers are not catching on to people who do that. And, you know, should we? Like, quite often there's this particular creator that has, oh my gosh, has just like leached onto different creators, including myself. And they're super friendly, and they're, you know, so lovely-dovely about everything. And they're doing it because there is something they need from you. So if they think they can add followers from being friendly with you, or, you know, get kind of more, get their style up or whatever, their techniques, then, you know, they get more followers is what they're thinking. But in reality, if they do it with you, they do it with other creators, and you start actually realizing what's happening, I just see what they're doing, you know? And recently there was a painting that they've done, and overnight they went from a 0 to 100. And I thought, wow, they must have like taken a course, but how like, I know this artist is not capable, creator, I'm not calling them artists. Artists are people who are authentic, so yeah. So this creator, and I'm thinking, how is it possible? How on earth would they go from complete lack of sense of color palette, of drawing, they're incapable of drawing, they hire people to draw their products, things like that. And how on earth did they go from there to there? And of course they're quite sneaky, and they would sort of show this painting in the video quite often, and your eye draws, like it draws your attention there, it goes there, because you think, wow, it's actually a really beautiful painting. So I thought, well, good on them, but there's something, because of the history this creator has, I just thought, I want to figure out, there's something not quite not quite fitting, like the puzzle isn't fitting. So of course then a little while later, they share that they did take a course indeed, and it sounds like that painting is basically the copy of what the artist was showing. So for example, if I take a course, and I have taken a course, a really extended course, a 12 months course this year, I have never sat down and actually taken the same marks and the same colors and the same everything and done what the artist has said. I let it marinate, and then day or weeks or sometimes even month later, I think about the textures and what I can remember in my mind, and then I go and I do my own thing. Now, this is how you get inspired. You don't just blindly copy someone. That's the other thing. If you're a creator, you should teach people something that It's like the blind leading the blind otherwise. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, so I basically realized, yeah, that's it. And then that creator started creating their own versions of that style, and then you can see it is right there. It's just mess, because they don't understand what they're doing. So I'll leave it at that. But is it okay, and should we sometimes say something? Do you know what? Maybe take a minute out, maybe take a little break from YouTube, learn something actually, get it up here, and then go back and then start creating. Anyway, I think I said enough on this subject. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And let's move on to something else. So, on the weekend, which is yesterday, Sunday, I've taken Mason to the Fitzwilliam Museum in Cambridge. There is an exhibition currently happening. So back in the day, obviously, women were not able to vote, one of the things that they weren't able to do. And there's loads of, things that women were limited in. And art is another subject where a lot of women were creating, were painting. There were sculptors, artists of different spectrums, but the point is they were not recognized as men, so they wouldn't get the fame, they wouldn't get the attention. And this exhibition focuses on the fact that yes, there were women back in the day that were beautiful artists, they just didn't get as much attention as men did. So we went to that exhibition, and there was a lovely painting of an artist who I think was living or was born in Vienna. It was a self-portrait of a woman who's having her dress fitted by a dressmaker. And I really liked the colors of it. Again, the color palette was quite limited, and we spoke about limited color palettes before and many times on my channel, that it's what makes the art stand out. It's what makes you an artist, knowing what colors to use, when to use them, to make them effective. So when I say limited color palette, it doesn't mean there's a boring couple of colors. It's how you dissect the colors and how you cleverly play with them to make them pop and to make them work. You don't just throw all the colors you can find in the cupboard to the canvas and like, whoo, we have a rainbow. So in the shop, I always get something quite cute, always find little bargains. And this is a £3 bargain. And it's a tray. Now, I got this tray because if you remember, well, you would have watched the video this week, that currently my tombos are in here and they're not working. It's a lovely tin, but this tin will be used for something else. It's a Fortnum and Mason tin. I love their tins. They're beautiful. But I am going to keep my tombos now in here in the tray. So they're perfectly fitting, like so. And I can have them in the open and see and find the right colors. I really like this sort of tray idea. It resonates quite well with me. Simply because they're markers, it's best to keep them horizontal anyhow. So I tried to keep my markers in trays. And because they're longer, they were difficult to find a basket for. So this tray is working quite nicely. And what else? Shall we do some painting? So let's think about this pattern here. When I was illustrating this flower, I was just randomly looking at different images of flowers on my phone, and I came across a flower that is not looking like this, but I have taken certain elements from it and I changed up the color. In real life it's purple and the petals are not as exaggerated, but I will leave the stylistic approach to botanical or to modern botanical illustration for another video. So today I just want to focus on the pattern. And the pattern, once I started drawing it in, I find it very therapeutic to kind of draw or illustrate in patterns. And I didn't realize that it actually happens in florals to a certain degree. So for instance, the hibiscus center, it has these little bits and they are a pattern. So if you would continue this, sorry, there's a lot of sunshine. So if you would continue this, you would find that it's a pattern. So in fact, I could do it and just expand the understanding of patterns. Sometimes it really helps to do this. Now, this pattern actually reminded me of the pattern that I did in my pattern book or sketchbook. And it's a pattern that I got inspired from taking a course. This is when I started changing it up. Anyways, it kind of looked like snake skin. And then I started playing around with different varieties. Here I tried out different markers to see, or fine liners, which ones I liked. And then I started introducing watercolor into them and creating illustrations in the shapes and just playing around with granulation and things like that, and just changing the patterns a little bit. So elongating it and rounding it up and this sort of a thing. And these are quite pointy, sometimes a bit of irregularity. So if you turn this pattern around, it's actually basically this pattern, but now we are putting it into a shape similar to how I've done here. I will do a bit of pattern on this side of the sketchbook. So let's say we are going to just elaborate on this pattern right here. So basically it's a round pattern, so I'm going to make it slightly bigger. The idea here is that you relax into the drawing and you have control, or you learn control over your hand. Then I could take things and make them a bit more irregular. So some things are going to be more pointier and some things are going to be smaller. And let's see, I'll do another one. Maybe this time I'll make it really, really long. Okay, so we've got a variety here. Now let's try to, this time, make them a bit more rounder, see what happens. So they're kind of like egg-shaped. So you get the idea. And then, of course, what's fun is take a medium, any medium, whatever you like to work with, be it watercolor, crayons, pencils, and then start coloring them in, and again change the way you do it. So for instance, here I went with one color but quite granulating. Here I have gone with like a monochromatic color palette with a few darker elements for contrast. Here I have mixed a variety of colors. Here I have gone lighter and darker towards the end. Here I have added some detail with gold. Here I've just done shadowing, similar to, actually, if we turn this pattern around, it's basically very similar to what you see in this flower. Here the key is to just create a bit of darkness in between. So now I'm going to take this Winsor & Newton pigment marker. So the beauty with this marker, I'll start with the top, is that you can build up the intensity. And then I'll show you how to build it up to make it look more dimensional. So now let's use another color. I had to draw the curtain. I hope the lighting is better now. So now I'm going to use Tombone. These are water soluble. Also, their brush is so good. Very quickly you can fill in a large area. Now, let me go back to the first one and I'll show you how I build up. So then when I want it to be darker, at the bottom, I just add a little bit of second layer. First, it will appear quite patchy. Let's try, this is similar color to the first one. I'm going to go in and then layer with another Tombow, because remember these are water soluble, so I could blend them a little bit. And then let's do this lovely grey green. I'm not being very precise because this is just an example, and you don't need to be filling everything right to the line. Just have fun with it. So I wanted to show you, for instance, if you did want to bring in your watercolor, you can just soften the edges and that creates a different look. So instead of, you know, having a solid color throughout, you're basically adding a bit of watercolor effect to the edges. And it looks lovely as well. Once it dries, it will have this lovely little blossoming line going through. Now let's try and revisit the beautiful chartreuse here. So this step you can only do when it fully dries up. And yes, you can see you can build up a little bit. And again, let it dry. and then we go in one more time, and that will be the last time. So can you see how ugly this chiseled end is? It's very hard. It's got like edges and corners to it. So I just use this tip right here. So here we're going to go just into the smallest area and just add a third layer to darken it. So that's that. Now into this one, let's try and mix in a darker color. So this is not the same. Again, just randomly putting it in because we are going to use a water brush to blend things in here. So let's go in with that. So we're just pulling out this dark green into here, making it look softer, more blended. I pulled out 2 of my little baskets of Uniposcas and Molotovs. These are acrylic markers, and I am feeling this poison green because it's quite similar to the chartreuse that we have here. I'm thinking of using it in this area to lifting it and giving some textural effect as well as a little bit of a lift in color. With this one, I'm kind of feeling a gold, I think, and maybe a bit of white in here, but I'm not entirely sure if I want a white or not. We'll see. So I've got a white. So let's start with the white. I think here I'm going to use dots at the tip, quite sort of saturated, and then going sparse towards the bottom, emphasizing the darkness at the bottom and lightness at the top. So that's the idea. Make sure you really shake these up really well before using them. Let's start. So again, I'm going to put quite a few and then just sparse them out towards the bottom. So you can see it's very subtle, but from the distance it just adds that bit of lightness right at the tip. So here, let's bring in some interesting colors to this one. And I'm thinking just a few right at the bottom, like that. So, again, a very subtle change. And now with the gold, I'm going to go throughout the entire area. And again, at the bottom, I want to add a bit more. So in this case, we're flipping it. So here it was at the top because it was white. Here with the gold, I'm going to saturate it right at the bottom and then bring it out. Because we didn't create any shadowing to begin with, so we're using the marker to do that with. So just to show you a few, what a difference it makes. So here are little gold dots, again quite subtle. Also keep in mind the shaking part of any acrylic marker is a big part of it, because sometimes the paint or the pigment separates into liquid and dry pigment, and it just becomes quite watery and it doesn't stand out. So the Poscas are quite temperamental in that respect. Also, some markers are a little bit more transparent, others are more opaque, so keep that in mind as well, that perhaps using a more opaque color possibly would be a better option. But think about also the colors. So for instance, I have like lovely blues, but would I want to have blues in my botanical art? Probably not. But if I wanted to go into something a bit more abstract, then it probably would be a better option, because you want that pop. So this for abstract art wouldn't really cut it. So that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed exploring patterns and thinking about how to take something that you felt inspired from an artist but make it your own. That's the key. Copying is not chic, it's not cool. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.